Done? Okay, so thank you very much, Team Persec Research, for the hard work. And we are going to talk about something which of entire research process is a small thing but very crucial thing. Um, and despite so it's this session is not more much about knowledge as such. It is more about hacks and skills and tricks which will be able to give you the kind of uh, success you are expecting in terms of data collection. And it is over the period of time, since the age of education, it has become. Um, I hope there is no network glitch. Avesh, is all good? Okay, I will assume that everything is going good until unless my colleague says so. Everything is right. Okay, thank you. So, why it is important for us to discuss about the hacks and tricks of data collection is because with the advent of information technology, the vital information, the crucial information that we all want in our respective research has become more tough. So we have a lot of unwanted information busting all around us, which is actually choking up the space for uh, creating, getting the vital knowledge uh, that we want to source it from the environment or from the primary sources. It is becoming more crucial. As much as we as a mankind are gaining the momentum of growth and development, we are squeezing a lot of things, stuffing a lot of things into whatever time we have in a single day or in the lifespan we are going to live as a human on earth. This is becoming a challenge. So time is not increasing, and we have to fit all of it, all the things in our time, especially the research graduation or a PhD or any master degree into research comes in our life into a time in which a lot of other things are much more important. And that is why it becomes crucial for us to uh, understand. I want to see everyone's comment here, and I just want to make sure that you guys are listening, you guys are responding, which will give us an understanding that whatever we are talking is reaching out to the right person, right? So in this session, we have gained some experience as an organization, as a Persec Research. We have gained an experience about why anyone responds to our questionnaire or survey or schedule, and why they don't respond. I think it is going to be useful for all of us, and that is the very purpose we are sharing it. So before I'm going ahead, I want to give you two information. One is my organization, and second about that basic minimum takeaway of this session, which is a spoiler basically. I'm not going to share any shortcut. I'm going to give you some shortcuts through which you'll be able to generate data. And I want you guys to share your experience of collecting data after this session. I mean, that will be a real time learning, because education is not about teaching, it is about co-learning. It is about knowing that whether my way of things work for you as well, or your way things are working for us as well. So we are living into an environment in which we learn from each other, and that's the very purpose of we are doing research, because we are exploring a knowledge which wasn't there. So the path, the method, everything will follow accordingly. Right, friends. So my organization, and why I'm doing it, because Persec Research is the manufacturer of knowledge, and that is how we call ourselves. We manufacture knowledge. We don't trade knowledge. I mean, we can either manufacture things or you can trade things. So we don't trade or distribute. We manufacture knowledge. We catalyze the research. So without participating into the research, we actually uh, uh, give the speed and momentum and velocity to the research. And we nudge the researchers because researchers are mostly alone. We are a tribe which are not getting adequate sympathy, empathy, and support from the society. So we feel left out, we feel lonely, and that is the very reason we look forward to uh, uh, nudge the researchers. And so we are the passionate people who are actually creating the tribe of curious minds having a scientific temperament, which is the essence of the society. We all have to have a scientific temperament in whatever instances come to our life. That is where I think we all are needed, and we should be heading. And that's our code, and that is why I'm sharing this video with you, and that is why precisely we are here, and we are talking about it. So I'll suggest you that in each and every slides, I have planned some information which will be important for you, because you never know in terms of selection, in terms of data collection, which are the aspects you are stuck at. So each of the sentence, each of the slides that I'm going to share with you are going to serve you importantly. So please be with us. At the end, we'll be going to having a post session assessments, and then all the promises that we have made in our emails and WhatsApps and all these things will be crucial. But very important for you is, friend, that you have to um, register with us, because otherwise we'll not be able to give you certificates, and we will not be able to entertain your post session assessment. Right. So I have something very important to say to all of you. That is called data collection is the most joyful and utmost learning experience of the entire research process. And if it doesn't matter, you're writing a research paper, or you are you are what do we say, um, helping somebody, you're the supervisor of somebody, or you're doing a thesis, or you're working on some grant driven project or some live projects, you're consulting somebody into market research or somebody, it doesn't matter. Or maybe you're just doing some government projects in terms of research. I want to tell you that this is most cumbersome, most challenging, but most joyful and utmost learning part of your entire research projects. When I say joyful, because you when you're out for data collection, you will start seeing the real revelations. The revealings will happen in front of your eyes and mind about the subject you've been thinking and theoretically engaging with a lot of other researchers in terms of their research papers and their research assets and all. Right. So, and that is why I think um, it is more joyful. And why it is more most learning experience, because everything that you're going to write in your report, and the kind of stuff you're going to read, and how your entire research process will shape, depends upon the live experiences that you're going to gain from here. Right. So and that is why it is important. So and then I agree that most of you will say that it is the toughest part. And sometimes it is more I mean, you have to push yourself a lot to go out and collect the data. And if you're a senior researcher, then it takes a lot of energy from you to ask your junior colleagues or students to go out and collect the data. And even if they're going for the data collection, you're not sure that the kind of data they are coming back with is going to be truthful or useful for that matter, or maybe it will actually give you the kind of results you are expecting it to give. Why it is so? What has changed, or had it been the case all across the history of research? Of course, I mean, it was never easy to collect primary data, but it has become tough. Why it has become tough? Because in the era wherein you are able to book your tickets in the tap of the fingers on your mobile, for anywhere in the world. You actually are able to make transactions of any amount of money, just few finger taps. When you are able to order groceries and everything in just in your mobile, and everything actually logistically coming to you just by making some transactions on your mobile phone. When everything else is becoming easy, uh, data collection is not becoming that easy. And that is why it the comparative gap between what I'm normally able to do about other things and what I am normally doing for the data collection, the gap is increasing. And why that gap is increasing? Because the moment you are able to do other things very easily, you are able to get more time for the things which gives you money, which makes your earning, which gives you other vital assets of living a respectful human life. And in both the, so you have some sets lifestyle wherein you don't have to invest a lot of time and efforts, and then you have a profession which takes all the time left out from your lifestyle and living standards. And there is nothing significant happened in the domain of research. So research has been left alone into this technology. Why it has been left alone? Because as much as we are talking about sharing the information, that's not in technology, we are getting skeptic about telling about ourselves in the field as a respondent, uh, talking about my information and sharing about this information. The data privacy and other things has taken a crucial role in the consciousness of we being human. So this has changed. The orientation has changed. So three things happened actually from last century into this century. Number one, our lifestyle has become easy. Paying money, paying bills, buying grocery, buying anything. These things have become very easy and saved time. We have saved a lot of time into not investing the things conventional ways into this. And whatever time we have saved, we have invested that time into something which is giving us money, which is the source of earning. And that is how we have created a lot of complex day plans and schedules which are absolutely different than what we've been doing conventionally. But and the third thing is that if at all somebody is asking any information from me, I have become conscious of my privacy and skeptic about sharing information. Right, so these three things have made it extremely complex. That's what I want to say. Technically, what is called, we have become methodologically contestations. Like we're living in a time of methodological contestations. So we have got each and everything questionable around us. Each and everything has become skeptic around us. Each and everything has become debatable around us. So now we have started caring about things which we have never cared in our formal life, previous lives, previous generations or previous days. Right. So that is why in the institutional setup, data collection has become very tough. So what we have to do, what is the solution to do it? Right. So we have to focus on three areas, which is called that each and every data that we are trying to collect from the market has to be interactive, iterative, and dynamic. And that is what I'm going to talk about in this session. How we can be more iterative, more dynamic, and more interactive in our approach to collect data. And if we can do these three things, it will become, at least it will help you get the amount of data you want, primary data you want from the from the respective market or society you are asking it for. Now, the term looks very technical. It is not, right? I just want to give you what iterative, interactive, and dynamics means of doing that. So, in central, by making it iterative, interactive, and dynamic, I'm talking about that we are actually trying to record the live experience of our respondents, not a categorical, logical, fact-based information, which will actually ultimately serve no purpose into the research we want to do. right? So what is the sampling funnel? I'll in the next slide I'll talk about, because I think most of you have assumed that when I'm talking about primary data, I'm only talking about people and getting information from the people, when you think that primary data is a lot of other things than that. True. The challenging part is that of is to get the informations uh, obtained from the people, because in other methods you know that if you have a resource and if you have a time, you can do it. So because if you have a resource to buy machines, then probably you'll be able to do it in labs. If you have resources to do observations, other things, we can do it. What is crucial is to find human respondents to get that. So yes, our lecture is majorly focused here, but that doesn't mean that we're only covering this part. So sampling has to have a funnel, like, so you should know who all are available around you, who all you want to respond to your questions or schedules, and who all will agree to finally agree to give you data, and who all will get enough confidence that whatever information they are giving to you will not be wasted, will not be uh, washed away, right? And finally, the people who are going to respond. So as you can see, this vertical cone, this is exactly is the amount of people who will ultimately turn to you. So for example, if you have to collect say 800 data, so you actually have to identify some 10,000 potential respondents, and then it will funnel down to some 1,000 to 800 uh, required respondents who will ultimately convert to you. And this journey should not be a typecast per se. This journey has to have a complete process of mechanism to be followed. And here lies the entire concept of being iterative, interactive, and dynamics. I'll go ahead and I will talk about. So let me bust a myth first. Right. So in our research methodology books and in our classes of the research methodology, we've been told that in the data collection method, the primary sampling methods, there are 5 6 kind of sampling methods, and you have to select any one. I disagree. You cannot depend upon only one means of it, because by doing so you will not be able to penetrate the bottleneck which will stop you from actually collecting data from the market, right? And that is where I want to break this myth. So you know all these things, I'll not go into detail what is what, but questionnaire is something like you give it to the respondent and respondent fill it at their convenient time and they come deliver back to you. Schedule is something you go and stand up on the head of the respondent and ask questions, respondent responds, and you record, because the kind of long language and complexity you have made in your schedule is not something your respondent will be able to understand. So for example, if you're doing any study about the labors and your study is in English language or any other foreign language, naturally that labor will not be able to understand your questionnaire. So instead of you giving it to him or her to fill it, you actually have to read it, translate it, make him understand or her understand, and then record the data. That's schedule. Interview is like when you know that the person is very busy, or the person has or your research has more emotional content than the rational contents to be recorded, and it is more of going to be qualitative information, not the quantitative informations, and you have to be vague about how to interpret it. And in sometimes you actually don't trust into the verbal or active response of your respondent, then perhaps you go out in the market and or into the society or into the field to observe things in front of you, and then you record the information and then you collect it, right? So observation can be in the lab or can be out in the society or somewhere in the field, can be anything. So observation can be about the quality of soil or the quality of minerals coming out or the quality of the water, or the product selling in the market, or any auditing thing, can be anything. That's where when you perform is an observation, and then it is an experiment wherein you induce a conducive situation wherein your kind of desired responses starts coming in. That can be a chemical lab in which you are actually adding some chemical and waiting to see what has happened. That can be any botanical space wherein you are taking all the pesticides and all the soils and testing that when this fruitation happens. So or maybe that can be a medical thing, or that can be anything for that matter, or maybe pharmaceuticals. It's not stopping, maybe a mechanics or automobiles or electricity, can be any experiments, right? So we've been told so far that these are isolated methods not dependent to each other. So when I say that when we are living into the world of methodological contestations, then this orientation of treating all these sampling methods in isolation becomes cumbersome, or maybe plainly useless. And that is what I want to help you understand here, right? So try and understand what I'm actually proposing as a first concept. The first hack of data collection is to apply all the methods but report the most successful method. So instead of any prejudices that okay, I'm going to make a questionnaire and a Google form and send it to 1,000 people and 500 people will turn me back. Um, no, don't make these assumptions, because you don't know what is happening in the life of respondent. In most of the cases, if you are a respondent, you put yourself into the shoes of the respondent and think that if some questionnaire comes to you in your WhatsApp or in your email, how likely you are going to fill all those 30, 40, 50, and 100 questions, right? So Dr. Drishti Pal Singh ji, thank you very much for coming. Hello. Suhas ji, welcome. Hello, thank you very much. So have I made it clear? So do not make any presumptions that this will work and that will not work. Instead, and even if you have a strong conviction that method A will work, then also I will recommend that go and apply all the methods. Go and interview them. Even if you're collecting data from the laborers, go to any labor market and find out some six, seven people and do some focus group discussion, FGD, and figure out, make your observations, and then you take them along and do the rest of the things by any other tool or any methods. But within this primary sampling data collection method also, you have to do all the permutations and combinations, which works and which doesn't works. This will give you two benefits. One, it will help you how to access your respondent. That's number one. Number two, it will also give you a view about a complete understanding about what your research is about, what your theory is about, and what your report should ideally have. Welcome, Kumari Sonaji. Thank you very much for joining. Um Right. So I want you to understand this, that even before you log into the research, even before you develop your entire concept, you go into the market and start, or into the field or into the society, and start conversing with the kind of respondent you are going to collect data from. It will give you a real time understanding about how what I'm actually going to do, and do not hesitate from it. You know what, only going and meeting them will be tough. That is where the movement of this giant ball will be really painful. But the moment you will hit one and start talking and conversing to them, it will become, thank you Shilaji, thank you for your motivation, it will become very it will give you a sense of happiness and pride, and then it will be, you'll achieve full momentum of collecting data. So I hope I'm making sense. I'll come back to this slide because I'm not done here, because it is very important for us to understand why I'm talking about experiment with all the methods of primary sampling things. That is very important. Second biggest hack is that we all do our research either with a university, or we know somebody in the university who will help us get the resources from the university. So either I'm doing PhD or I'm doing master degree, in which a supervisor is assigned to me, and that supervisor is working full time to some university, or I am doing it with some NGO or some government department or some international charity organization or some corporate or some startup. I'm doing this. Then also I know somebody in my ex university or into some university in the city I live in. And I'm going to tell you this, that do not underestimate undergraduate students. That's my biggest teaching to you. And if you are not able to utilize students in your research, then you are actually uh, wasting a lot of resource, time, and energy into something which you could have otherwise achieved very easily. So it doesn't matter you're working a public funded research or a grant or a corporate or a startup or NGO or international charity organization, wherever, or you're doing your PhD or masters, you must tap undergraduates. They are the free, talented resource, excited to work with you. Do not underestimate them. They want to work with you. And to them, you have to tap. Naturally, a teenager needs motivation, and he or she wants to see the big picture. They will not be sold you that, okay, I'll give you 500 bucks and you get me this data, these many data. No, they are not going to be sold to this. They are young people and they are relatively free, and they have recently achieved freedom from their parents and from the society. So they are not going to bog down just to earn some 500 bucks or 1,000 bucks from you. They need a vision. That's Narayan, Infosys founder, statement, right? Give them vision and they will not need your supervision. That is how you have to treat your undergraduate students. And don't access them directly. Connect them. नरेंद्र जी, आप कह रहे हैं हिंदी में बोलिए, क्योंकि ऑडियंस अलग अलग जगह से है, तो and then I want to restrict to the language, but I will ensure that my next session is organized absolutely in Hindi language. I'll just try to do this. I'm sorry for this time, however. Okay, so coming back to the discussion, do not directly associate with the students. Use them through supervisor, right? Give them group task. They needs peer group motivation. Educate them because that is what they're hungry. Students, especially in India and any developing country, think that their university is not giving them new knowledge. There is no new books. All the books and syllabus are stale and old, and they want something new, right? And that is where they will see you as their asset. So educate them about the kind of things you're reading, the kind of paper you're reading, and so out of 1,000 students, you will only get 4 or 5 students. You will not get a lot of students, but those 4 or 5 will work miracle for you. Punish them if they are making mistakes. That is what studentship is about. They must be taught lesson, sweetly or bitterly, but they should be. This will establish an authority, and this will actually help them learn. Make them your friend, right? Set them free and let them compete. And if they will compete, they will give you a lot of data. We have, especially since when the private universities have started popping in, we have seen that all the people who are doing PhD are not at all connected with the graduate students and undergraduate students of the university, and their supervisors are not even asking them to meet inside the campus. They meet somewhere in the residence or somewhere out in the restaurant somewhere. No, visit university, go to the university, ask your supervisor that you want to take special lecture in the undergraduates about the research you're doing. It will add on to your performance of the research, and you give them all the new knowledge, and that new knowledge will fetch you lot of hands, lot of minds, and lot of eyes, all free of cost for you. That is the second hack I'm going to. So first, do not based upon one methods, apply all the methods, report the most successful method. That was the first thing. Second, you have a big resource. Your biggest resource is the student of the university. use them, and by using them, naturally there has to be a trade. Yes, of course, you have to give them money because it will be needed because they're going to be into the field. But money will not be the ultimate thing. They will be working for you. They are going to work because they want to learn new things, ensure that you're giving them new things which is not available in their syllabus and books, which their teachers may not be teaching them. Give them group tasks. Their group is always, youngsters group are always motivated. They don't work on syllabus. Give them new knowledge, punish them, make them your friend, and give them freedom to do the experiments in your experiments. That will be something which will be really important. Another important thing is those friend is profiling your respondent, right? So if you look at the picture, it will help you understand what I'm saying. So for example, you have to collect sample from the pond, and if you will collect sample from one segment of the pond, because pond is not a like flowing water, right? It is a water reservoir which has a less movement. So until unless something really big is not coming on the surface, the water will not intermix with entire pond, right? So if you're collecting the water from the segment of the pond wherein there are a lot of tree shadow, then naturally that part of water will have a lot of fungus, lot of bacteria, and lot of other living organisms. And if you're collecting the water from the pond from the segment where it gets maximum sunlight, then it will have less fungus, less bacterial, and less other things into the water. That means if you'll go back and collect data from only one segment of the entire pond, your research will have a lot of erroneous variables which will make your research and findings insignificant, cannot be generalized, and can certainly not be used into any prediction of knowledge or any manufacturing of knowledge. And for that reason, I'm saying that you have to actually profile your respondent. So, and you have to have your treatment factors into your respondents, right? Some control factors into your respondent. You cannot just make random selection and that random selection will give you the kind of prediction you want. It is not going to happen. So it is very important that you profile your respondent and make sure that you have a treatment factors, you have control factors, and you have reduced erroneous factors influencing your data collection passively, right? So this is another important thing, so that you can be profiling them based upon their demographics and their lifestyle, right? So so gender should not be here, gender should be the other side of it. I'm sorry for this particular thing, but anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that if you are able to profile it and collect samples from various locations of that society or the sub society you have identified, then only you will be able to have error free primary data, because chances are extremely higher that you end up collecting data which have a lot of adulterated variables, a lot of unwanted variables negatively influencing your information, and you end up wasting a lot of resource and money and still not able to get the desired result from your research that you've been expecting. That is where I want to tell you, right? So yeah, so here is the third tip of, in fact, the fourth tip of the entire session I'm going to talk about, right? So first is, immediately after the conceptual framework, start making respondent profiling, right? So first is that immediately you're done with developing the concept of your research, find out who are going to be respondents and what will be their profiles. Go out in the market, start talking to them, right? So start giving them an idea about your research, right? Like that dialogues with your potential respondent will shape your understanding about your data, right? And do a lot of it, like so for example, what is the ultimate approach of data collection? Think like Lord Hanuman. Do not have any prejudices that you're talented, right? Even if you're talented and capable, none of us are more talented and capable than Lord Hanuman. But when Lord Hanuman was asked to bring Sanjeevani Booty, He did not risk it to his intellectual knowledge that, okay, this is Sanjeevani and this is not. He simply decided to take the complete mountain back to Sri Lanka and let the um, Ved decide that which is Jadi Booty and desired Jadi Booty and which is not. That's not my head. So when you're out in for the data collection, even if it is your research or somebody's research, make sure you think as a Lord Hanuman, not as a some doctor or some officer or something like that. No, some expert something. So when you're out for the fishing, your target should be that when you throw your net, the net should take the widest possible surface area so that you're able to collect maximum amount of hydro life forms. You cannot be the person who is choosing okay, I'm this kind of the fish only I will target and that kind of fish I will not target. Of course, you should target which portion of the ocean or the river you're going to throw your net at. But when you're throwing your net, make sure that your net spreads entirely big and able to collect everything possible within the ambit of the net being thrown. And then don't worry that what comes into that net. We'll see it at the shore. When we'll go back to the shore, we will see that what kind of information have you got. Is this information useful or not? Or maybe tomorrow we have to go again and throw the net all over again. So at the time of data collection, be Lord Hanuman. Don't be, I don't know, any other example, alternate universal example for that, right? So don't be an expert. Don't sound, make you're an expert, right? And spend a lot of time in data collection. In fact, at the time of, 60 to 70% of your whole research time should be invested into data collection, because what field will give you, books will only comply with it. Right? So books will complement what you have seen, because ultimately, what is research? Research is manufacturing of knowledge, the knowledge which has not already been made. Books are helping you that if at all you're manufacturing knowledge, this should be the method, that should be the base, that should be the criteria, and this much you should develop in this project, and that you should work for the next project. That is what the books are for. But the real research are happening out somewhere among the people or among the resources somewhere out. So that's why I'm saying give in a lot of time into data collection. And do not worry about unwanted data, right? In the collection process, let the garbage come in, we will filter out, let the garbage come in, right? Even if people go for the mining, gold mining, they don't get gold out of it, they get ores, and then they go into the furnace, blast furnace, and then there is a whole process of distilling gold out of the ore that they have got from the mines. So don't worry if there are a lot of other things coming out, right? So don't worry, that will see later, right? Think like fisheries, right? So and then third point is pool sample and filter out the crap. Sample crap. There will be 10% sample, useful sample, 90% crap, and make it the thumb rule. And if it is not happening, if you're thinking that you're getting 50% sample, right sample, and 50% crap, then trust me, your methodology is wrong, your understanding about respondent is wrong, and you're not collecting the right kind of data. Unless you're not collecting 90% crap and 10% useful information from the sampling collection process, your sampling is not right. Telling you this. And if you're thinking that you're out in the fisheries and you're only collecting one species of fish, then probably you're not making it right. Unless other things are not coming in, right? Otherwise, you must have breeded those species there, and that's a whole different thing, right? That's called experiment. That's different. And do not entirely dependent on online method. Online method is a facility. It is not a medium for primary data collection. So do not make a Google form and you're done. That is all. No, Google form is just 15 to 20% of the whole data collection process. So do not mistake. I'm like, if I have given you half form and you think that data is done, it's full, okay, I'll populate it, I will double it, I will triple it, and I will do my, no. If you want to make a report and submit something, that is a different ballgame. But if you really want to talk about the sincere and genuine research, that's not a right approach. And the last point, my dear friend, is fail fast, start again. Fail fast, start it again. In the data collection, I'm saying, don't worry about that you brought so many data and you failed in doing it. No, do it again, do it again, do it again. And you're thinking that, okay, how will I get so much time to do it? Boss, make it, if you are a researcher, as a scholar, as a supervisor, as a co-author, as a grant obtained research or anything, it is the part of your profession. You have to get time out of it. You have to make exclusive time. As I said in the beginning, I'm not giving you a shortcut, I'm giving you shortcuts. And for that reason, I'm saying that fail, start again. Fail, start again. There is no other way. And my dear friend, last thing I'm going to tell. If you can look this picture more properly, and if you're not, I'm going to enlarge it for you to help you understand what I'm talking about. In the jungle, if you are a tiger, you know where is your game. You know where is the easiest prey, where you will get successful hunt. It is the water reservoir of the jungle. Every species, at least once in 24 hours, will visit for the water. And that's where your game is. Right? So instead of you are chasing one person in the market, find out where all those people will be available at one en masse. So for example, if you're doing some consumer survey, you know that all the parents are consumers and you know where to find them. Any parent teachers meet, any career fair or the book fair, or any conclave for that matter, carnivals, conferences, right? You can have university interventions. You can ask your university to do some program in which you will be pulling all the people, inviting all the people. That can be a workshop on COVID protocol. That can be a workshop on life after COVID things. That can be any workshop in which you're inviting everybody in your target respondent into the university from which you're doing your research, and putting them at what place. And at just before the high tea or the lunch time or somewhere time, you just sneak in your research paper and take permanent build individual repo and get your responses, right? And alternatively, you can have a data collection agency, and it is not wrong. It is completely legal. It is completely good for doing, right? So boss, you have to so this entire process I'm discussing it from here, right? Iterative, interactive, and dynamic till here in my last slide of developing a waterhole technique. I'm only talking about collecting live information from the market, seeing that whether it is going to be useful or not, and doing it all over again and again, right? So rather than you go and chasing individual respondent, ensure and create a condition environment wherein your respondents can come at one place. But that will also not guarantee you 100% correct data, right? Make sure that if you have to collect 100 valid samples, you have to approach at least 1,000 respondents. That should be the ratio. And if that is the ratio, your research will be absolutely successful. Right, friends. So I hope I will not take it much longer. If you have any question, I would love to answer your question. And if you have no question, thank you very much. You can contact us into any research assistance, because we call ourselves as a manufacturer of knowledge. Our job is to catalyze the research and nudge the researchers, because we are passionate about creating the tribe of curious minds with highest of scientific temperament. You have to have a curiosity and you have to have a scientific temperament. Then only you are taking yourself and your society forward by manufacturing knowledge. And that is what I want as an organization. This is our address. You can see persec.in. You can be in touch with us, subscribe us, and let us know whether it's been useful to you or not. Hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you very much. Is any question? More study, more confusion, no study, no confusion. So if you know everything, that's why you don't have a question. If you know nothing, that's why you don't have a question. Because in any place else, you will have a question. So you have our email ID, contact@persec.in. You will get all the certificates if you joined us directly online. And you can ask a question there. You know where to find us. So we are already excited. The manufacturer of knowledge are always excited about the question. And we are going to eagerly wait for your question. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. So my colleague Avesh, can you please disconnect now?